Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another video on the Submitter's Perspective channel. Today I'll be addressing a very important question that's often raised to someone who follows the Quran alone, and that is if the Quran is a complete and fully detailed book. When we say to an average traditional Muslim out there that the Quran is all we need, the immediate question that they raise is, how can that be? Because the Quran is not a complete and fully detailed book. It doesn't provide the details of the religion. It doesn't provide all the explanations that we need to follow the religion correctly, etc., etc. So since this is a very important question, we have to look into the Quran to find guidance. What does the Quran say about itself? Does it claim to be a complete and fully detailed book? If yes, does it provide the details for every aspect of religion? Where and how can we find these details? What are the critical points that we need to consider when we seek explanation or details within the Quran? These are some of the critical questions that I will attempt to address through this video, God willing. In Surah Araf, which is chapter 7, the heights, we see a verse which reads, وَلَقَدْ جِئْنَاهُمْ بِكِتَابٍ فَصَّلْنَاهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ هُدًى وَرَحْمَةً لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. The translation of this verse is, we have given them a scripture that is fully detailed with knowledge, guidance and mercy for the people who believe. And here's another verse, and this is in Surah Yunus, verse 37, and it reads, وَمَا كَانَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنُ أَن يُفْتَرَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَلَكِنْ تَصْدِيقَ الَّذِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ وَتَفْصِيلَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ مِن رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. The key words in this verse is تَفْصِيلَ الْكِتَابِ. The words وَتَفْصِيلَ الْكِتَابِ indicates the detailed nature of the kitab, which is the Quran. Moving on to the translation of the verse, we see that this Quran could not possibly be authored by God. It confirms all previous messages and provides a fully detailed scripture. So this is why we read that it's a tafsil. So it's a fully detailed scripture. It is infallible, that it has all the details that we need. There should be no doubt about it, for it comes from the Lord of the universe. And in Surah 615, God says, وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا لَا مُبَدِّلَ لِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Translation of which is, the word of your Lord is complete in truth and justice. Nothing shall abrogate his words. He is the hearer, the omniscient. The key words in this verse is وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ and لَا مُبَدِّلَ. Here God is claiming that his words are complete and perfect. And لَا مُبَدِّلَ لِكَلِمَاتِهِ refers to the fact that the Quran or the words of God cannot be altered or changed, meaning nothing can be added to it, nor can anything be taken out of it. So here again, God claims that his words are perfect and fully detailed in truth and justice, and there's no need for an alteration, no need for adding anything to it or taking anything out of it. Based on these Quranic verses, one can easily conclude that the Quran is a complete and fully detailed book of guidance, and that there is no need for another source to provide details to whatever guidance the Quran provides. However, when Quranic evidence is presented to the average Muslim showing that the Quran is a complete and fully detailed book, objection is immediately raised against this fact by citing the reason that the Quran does not provide details about the Prophet's life, the life of the people who believed with him, the Islamic practices such as Salah, Zakat, Hajj, etc., and many other aspects of religion. But this is nothing but a misconception that arises because of a lack of understanding of the function and role of the Quran. and due to preconceived notions of how the Quran should be providing details. To understand this better, let's take the example of the operation manual of a television. The name Operation Manual tells us that the purpose behind this manual is to provide guidance to the user as to how the product can be operated. Thus, the user becomes aware that the details provided in this manual will only be in reference to the operations of the product, which is the television, and not about its manufacturing, its components, etc. It also provides a detailed explanation of how the product has to be operated, and it also provides an image which illustrates the operations of the product. Similarly, when a person approaches the Quran for details, he or she should be aware about the purpose and function of the Quran, and also be aware that the Quran only provides details that fulfill its function and purpose. The Quran also has its own unique way of providing details. Therefore, having preconceived notions of how certain details should be provided can often lead us to overlook the details provided by God in His Quran. In Surah 2, verse 2, God says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. That indeed this book, that the Quran, is without doubt a guidance for those who are conscious of Allah. هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. So the primary role of this Quran is to provide guidance to the people, guidance to those who are conscious of the Creator. In Surah 5 verse 48, God teaches us the other functions of the Quran. It says, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ بِالْحَقِّ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَمُهَيْمِنًا عَلَيْهِ. The translation of this verse is, then we reveal to you the scripture, truthfully confirming previous scriptures and superseding them. This verse teaches us two important functions of the Quran, and that is مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا and muhaiminan. These are the two functions of the Quran. This means that the Quran was revealed to confirm and authenticate the truth within the previous scriptures, and also act as a guard, a book that protects the truth within the previous scriptures. In addition to this verse also says فَحْكَمُوا بَيْنَهُمْ, which means that the scripture or the Quran was revealed to judge among the people. So the Quran clarifies a lot of disputes that existed within the communities. From this we understand that the Quran was simply a scripture that was revealed as part of a series of revelations, the final scripture that confirms the truth and guards and protects the divine knowledge that existed or exists within them. It acts as a criterion, and also it judges among the disputes of the people. Once we understand this, we can see why God only provides certain details in the Quran. For example, we see the history of the prophets narrated in the Quran. It provides us certain details about the communities, the religious practices they performed, etc., etc., but does not go into too many details. And this is the reason why, because such information was already revealed before the Quran. Therefore the Quran's function is only to correct, to confirm the truth, and judge among the people. Now that we know the role and function of the Quran, let's look at how the Quran provides details to the reader. A lot of people fail to see the details provided in the Quran, and this is because they fail to understand that the Quran is a self-explanatory book. It provides details from within itself. For example, in Surah 5 verse 6, God explains how to observe the ablution before the contact prayers. He provides us details from within the verse itself, where he says, wash your faces, wash your arms to the elbows, wipe your heads, wash your feet to the ankles, etc. And also gives us certain conditions which nullifies the ablution. But when we take the subject of charity, for example, we see that it is explained in multiple verses. For example, in Surah 2 verse 215, and then it explains further in 219, and then also in 254. Many such verses explained charity. This tells us that the Quran may provide details in one verse, or may provide details of a particular aspect of religion in multiple verses. In some cases, the Quran also provides details not through another verse or with the verse itself, but instead by pointing us to another source. You see this in Surah 10 verse 94, which reads, if you have any doubt regarding what is revealed to you from your Lord, then ask those who read the previous scripture. Where it says, then ask those who read the previous scripture, here God is actually pointing to another community or another scripture and telling the reader that you may refer to the previous scripture to clarify or seek more details. Indeed, the truth has come to you from your Lord. Do not be with the doubters. We see a similar style of explanation in Surah 3 verse 137 as well, where God says, precedents have been set for you in the past. Roam the earth and note the consequences for the unbelievers. So here God is telling the reader to roam the earth, to go out in the world and explore and understand more. Those who fail to understand the style of explanation or providing details of the Quran often end up relying on other sources or misinterpreting the message of the Quran. On the other hand, if a person is fully aware of the role and function of the Quran and also understands how God provides details in his book, he or she will be able to fully appreciate the detailed nature of the Quran and will be able to find it as a complete and fully detailed source of guidance.